No Excuse: The Power of Self-Discipline, written by a New York Times bestseller author Brian Tracy. Part 17, Chapter 8, Self-Discipline and Work. Leaders are not born, they are made. And they are made just like anything else, through hard work, and that's the price you will have to pay to achieve that goal or any goal. Vince Lombardi. There is perhaps no hour on your life where self-discipline has a greater impact on your future than in your work. Yet, if you are like to most people most of the time, you start in the morning and continuing throughout their day. You are saturated by people and events that have draw you away from doing the things that is the most important. However, it is true during your most important tasks that you move on to upward quickly that differently in your career. A group of senior executives was asked what are the most important qualities that a person would need to be promoted in your company. Of those executives, 85% agreed that the most important qualities are: number one, the ability to set priorities and work to high value tasks, and number two, the discipline to get the job done quickly and well. It seems that the two qualities are more helpful to career success than anything else a person can do. Diligent, disciplined, focused work will enable you to constantly and predictably get more done, get paid more, and get promoted faster throughout your career than the average person. Separate and the relevant from the irrelevant. I have monitored the Pareto principle and the 80-20 rule several times. That is a book, and it applies again here. Fully 80% of the value of the what you emphasize the will come from 20% of the thing you do. Your job then is to identify those 20% of your tasks and then congregate single mindedly and doing them quickly and well. Chapter 13 discusses time management in detail. But for now, let's take a look at the flip side. A good time management. Poor time management. According to the Robert Half International, the average employee wastes about 50% of his or her time on network relevant activities. 37% of work time is wasted on idea conversation or personal subjects with co-workers, conversations that hope and nothing whatever to do what job at heart. The other 13% of wasted time is constant by coming in the late and the leaving early, by long lunches and coffee breaks, and by surfing the internet, reading the newspaper, or conducting personal business during the day. Even waste, when people who waste a lot of time actually silhouette down and get to work, they spend too much time on low-value tasks and activities. As a result, they give very little down or worse than courses than to feel that they are under control purpose to get clothed up. Unfortunately, when you waste time at work, your work does not go away. It's continuously builds like a avalanche, and overthink and the lines come and closer and closer. Strings mounts up until the friendly force yourself to do the job actually that the time is last minute, and then the often make expensive mistake. Develop an excellent reputation. There is nothing that will bring you more quickly to the actionable of people who can help and you then for the develop and reputation of for her. Discipline to work every hour of every day. Average employees increases their income at only about 3% per year. Wage is just about the rate and inflation of the cost of living increases. In other words, if you are average employee, you are not really making any more money from the to the year. Rather, you have just keeping up with your expenses, but the top 20% in most fields increases their income anywhere from 10 to 25% per year, which is also compounded year after year. The top 20% of people at work earn 80% of the money. The bottom 80% of employees have no choice but to share the 20% of the money but the leftover. They must separable from the compounds from the field of the terrible and highly productive people in their fields. You can double your income. When I say to people in my seminars that you should set a goal to double your income. In the months and years ahead, people react in different ways to open. At the break, someone will come up to and me say, "You don't understand my company. There is no way to that why I could double my income at my current company. They simply will to not pay me that amount of money." Having heard this before, I then ask them the critical question: is there any way to your company who earns twice as much as you? The person who I am telling will always agree that yes, there are people in many companies who earn two of those times much as I do. I then make the key point. So your company to quite willing to pay some people twice as much as you pay you. They are not just willing to pay you twice as much. Why is not that? Then suddenly the light goes on. This individual realizes that is not the company that you are not willing to pay the money. It is the individual who is the comparison your to between worth and additional money. The responsibility is hits on not companies. The law of their helps you prioritize. When we coach entrepreneurs, executives, and business owners, we take them through an experience that is designed to help them double their productivity, performance, and output within 12 months, sometimes even within 30 days. Is simple. Here is how it works. First, make a lot of all those things that you do in your week or a month. From the time you start work on Monday morning throughout to end this week, write everything down, both small and large, including checking your email and returning phone calls. Then review the list of the days. This key question: if I could to do one thing that list all day long, which the task and activity contributed the most value of the company. As you go over your list, the current answers will probably jump and out you, whatever it is. Put a circle around it. Then ask the second question: if I could to do two things on this list all day long, which will be the second task or activity? Review your list again and identify your second most important task in terms of contribution to your company. Finally, ask the question once more: if I could do only three things on this list all day long, what would to be the third item? We call this the law of three. The law of three says there is a primary things you will do that contribute 90% or more of your fellow of your company organizations. Your job is to identify those their critical tasks and then discipline yourself to do them all day long. All of yours other minor tasks will be support tasks, completely tasks, enjoyable tasks, and useless tasks. They will be little things that you have often gotten into the habit or doing as way, unfortunately, according the big, different important tasks that can make a tremendous difference in your work and career. Calculate your hourly rate. Another way for you to double your income is for you to use the hourly rate method. It calculating your personal value and your time allocation. First, determine the amount that you earn each hour. You do this by dividing your annual income by the number of 2000, which is the regulated the number of hours that an entrepreneur and executive works each year in your society. 40 hours a week into 50 weeks a year. For example, if you earn 50,000 a year divided by 2,000, your hourly rate and will be 25 USD per hour. If you earn 1 lakh per year divided by 20,000, your hourly rate will be 50. Whatever it is, from the moment onward, resolve to do only those things that pay you your hourly rate or better. Refuse to do those things that someone else can do at a lower hourly rate than you. Do not waste your time doing things of low value or no value while you other important tasks at building up. Get on the same page about what work is most important. Once you have made a list of the results you feel you have been hard to accomplish and you have determined these the most important things you do just justify your hourly rate. Take your list to keep activities of your boss and have your boss organize your job based on his her percentage. You will need to do this because you must to be sure. Branching towards a further of the couple things considering from and another of the retail manager on said the very waste use of time is to do very well the what need to be done at all. Yet it's amazing how many people are working hard or taking the enough of little or not value their bosses. No matter how well you do to unimportant tasks, it's not help you even waste working or low value tasks that keeps you from working on the from important things you could be doing. Hard work on the worrying job can actually base in your career. The happiest days you will have at work will be when you are working on those tasks and your boss outside to be most important. The happiness those and work will be when you will are not bosses at the cross purpose and not getting alone primarily because you are not upcoming. The jobs are most important of him and or to his career. Your goal is to be paid more the promoted faster. Your goal is to become on the most valuable, the highest paid people in the field. Your job is first to make yourself valuable and the more people yourself indispensable to your company. That requires first or the foremost that you are always working those takes and your boss considers most important. Work all the time you work. The key is doubling your productivity and output and eventually your income is to really work all the time you are at work. Simply put when you work don't waste time, don't delay, don't chat with co-workers or sit around the drinking office. Don't read the newspaper or stuff on the internet. When you come into the work in the morning, put your head down and then work all the day long. The biggest time waste in your world of work other people who wait to talk with you, distract you, delay you, and take up the time when you should to be spending on the highest value tasks. When a time waster approaches you says, don't waste half the minute to tell your reply by saying yes, but not now. When don't we tell a lunchtime or after work is the manageable. I have to get this job finished. I have to get a break at to work. When you will tell people that you are under the gain, you have get him task finished for your boss, they will be also leaving you alone. If you are doing this often, they will develop the habit of leaving you alone and instead find sometime else when waste time. Keep yourself motivated and focused by talking to yourself in a positive way. Your mantra from now on should be back to work, back to work, back to work. Whenever you find yourself swinging down on the major tasks, begin repeating to yourself those messy words back to work. Who works hardest. The secret survey. Imagine that your outside company is going do a study of all the people work in your organization that are going to give each person is a list of employees and ask him to rate his fellow employees in terms of who works the hardest, the second hardest, and so on. They are then going to give this list of people organized from the hardest worker down to the least in your superiors. That is going to be used to determine who gets paid on more, promoted faster than others. Now, imagine that your survey is already begun taken, but is secret. The fact is, in any organizations, everyone knows who works harder than anyone else. Everyone knows who works less or who does not pull the waste every knows. It is not a secret at all. Resolve today that it's a survey that waste be taken on you from today. You will win the contest. Resolve today that are going to develop your reputation from being the hardest working person in your business. This will do more help you than almost anything else. When you are surrounded by time-wasting people and silence it takes self-discipline to work the time you're at work. You must constantly fight against distractions and impressions so you can get back to work. The success formula. When I started my career working for a large company, I was too low man of the time people. Everyone had been there longer than and was ahead to win this company picking harder. Even though I was in my early years, I still had no idea how to play the game or what to do to get ahead in the childhood. Compared competition that excited. Somewhat by accident, I stumbled onto the formula that made on me successful. It was simple. Whenever my boss gave me something to do, I did immediately, like a dog choosing after a twin sick. I would immediately to myself at the task, complete it's my hurry back to my boss with the finished job. Interestingly, it's a work simple and say something like, I don't really need to be quiet, but think you are getting it done. Ask for more responsibility. When I was close up with my work, instead of relaxing, I would go to my boss and say, I am all possessed up and I wait more work to do. I wait more responsibility. Those words became my mantra. I went to more responsibility. Again, my boss, who was frustrated when the increased number of projects would say something like, okay, leave and write me. I'll think about the years and I cannot give you do. Every day, like a broken record, I will to go my boss and at the end of day and say, I will all close up and I work like more responsibility. Bit by bit, we began to toss me six and you will to give me little tasks to do, keep me busy. Whenever I was, I will go out immediately, complete the task and begin him. The returns, I will do them. Say, I am called up, I want more responsibility. When 6 months, he began to see me all go to game. Whenever it's hard something is needed done quickly, he speaks by anyone else to give to me. He knows that whatever he asks me to do, I will to do quickly. Times is of the essence. Or my boss asked me to fly to Rento and begin development to work with the property that their company was purchasing. He told me I could go something I next couple the weeks instant. I left the next morning and I went surprised the lawyer who was hiring the testing and work then easier who went to work school and the development of work. I immediately sensed that something was seriously wrong with the land. Person I don't know what was the but I went from person to person, asking questions and getting information. By the end of the day, just a few hours before these 2 million. Tensions and the wars is close and there are many of who since hundreds of fever. And I found that we were about the sold a price of land had no word is worse, therefore unpredictable. Because of complex laws and the limited revenue rates and they probably was in worthless price and get ground the could not be developed within the next hundred of years. If we had precise and were purchased and we could have the lost 2 million. I immediately stopped the transaction determined and that the lawyers cut me a conflict clerk and for the 2,50,000 deposit that is was his trust account and flew home to my boss to tell him in the stream. As you can imagine, my boss was very happy with that I had done the big payoff. For that day forward, I received more and more responsibilities. Within another year, I was running 3 divisions of the company and had of staff 42 people in their cities. Later, I learned that my boss paid me more money than anyone else who had ever worked for him, and he did so all on the year's basis on the results and profitability. That is why whenever people ask me how to succeed in business by really trying, I give them the same advice. Whenever your boss gives you to do quickly and well, then go and ask them for more responsibility. And when you get to do job quickly and get well, until you get responsible for the begin, the person who does things first. This will help you advance in your career more than any other repetitions called the develop. Pay the price. Here is a simple 3-part formula for success at work. Come in a little earlier, work a little harder, and stay a little later. This will move you so far ahead of your competitors that they will never catch up. Come into work an hour earlier before anyone else arrives. Use that time to plan and organize your day and get started on your most important task. Make sure that whatever time your boss comes to work, you are always there working before he arrives. Second, work a little harder. Don't waste time. Don't chat with co-workers. Work through lunchtime so that you can get on track and stay on top of your means, tasks and relationships. Third, work on hour later than your co-workers. If they leave at 5 o'clock, you have left at 6. Use that extra time to complete your important tasks and get yourself organized for the following day. When you come in your hour earlier, work through lunch and to work on hour later, and you will there 3 full productive hours on your day because there are not interruptions when you work during this time period. You will be automatically impressed to the 3 times at most you will work during your others work hours when you are constantly impaired by other people and telephone calls. In fact, you can double or even triple your productivity, performance and output by simply adding these 3 hours of your workday. The best news is that by coming in earlier and leaving later, you don't lose anything. You will merely avoid the traffic tree-ups and slowdowns that most people suffer through on their ways to and from work. The 40 plus formula. To succeed faster at work, use the 40 plus formula. This formula says that you can tell right you are going to be 5 years from now by looking at a number of hours that you put in today in expense of 40 hours is work. If all you do is put in the regular 40 hours that everyone else put in, all you will do is survive. Your annual increases will be 3 or 4%. You will have a job, but your income increases will go up at some rate as everyone else. It is when you put is more than 40 hours that you give yourself an advantage of your most of the other people in your company and your business. Make it a habit to do more than what you are paid for. Discipline yourself to put in more than you take out every hour that you work over 40 hours a week and a investment in your future of success. The highest paid people in America in every field work 40 or 60 hours per week. The average self-made millionaire works 49 hours per week. This is equal to 540 hours days or 610 hours days. Most successful people at the beginning for 3 careers worked 60 days a week. Sometimes even more even they worked all the time were at work. They don't waste time. They realized that it's harder to wrap and grade hours later in their career. They had to slow the Lord seeds the simple and their career. Look the part. Dress for success. Finally, you need to discipline yourself to look self in the part. Remember, birds feather of the flock together. When it comes to presentation, that means that people like to promote others who look like them. Your bosses are very sensitive to the appearance for the staff. They look like promote people who they are proud of introduce up to their friends and colleagues. Be sure that you dress and groom in such a way that your boss won't be proud to be like you out for lunch and introduce you to others as a representative for his or her company. Learn how to dress for success. Read books and articles or ask others for advice. Look at the most successful people in your businesses and dress the way they do. Dress or the job to levels above your current job. Remember that is fully 95% of the most impressions you make or other people will be determined by your dress and grooming. Make sure that first impressions and then that second and third impressions are consistent with the message in when to send. Many people work their entire lives without realizing that by putting forward a little extra effort, working a little harder and focusing on higher value tasks that could become on the most valuable people in their organizations. When you discipline yourself to constantly increase the value of your contributions in your company, you will put your career on the fast track and artificially generate yourself a wonderful future. In the next sector, you will learn that your work behaviors neutrally determine your actions and the leadership, and you will keep see how self-discipline is essential to fulfilling your potential as a leader. Action exercises. 1. Make a decision today that you are going to become on the top 20% of people in your company and your industry. What should you or could you do determinedly? Make a list of everything you do in your job and then identify the trim tasks in contributing generate and value of your work and company. 3. Set a new work schedule for yourself and begin to start earlier. Work harder and stay little until they become a habit. Identify the most important results you are expected to achieve your job and then work on those results all day long. 5. Determine the person who is the best resulted and grooming in your company and when result use her as a role model for your own acceptance. 6. Decide today that from now you are going actually work all the time you are at work and that you are going to develop to reputation for being an hardest working person in your company. 7. Develop a sense urgently result move the first when you are given job opportunity that can change your life. I invite you to listen to the next chapter of this book. Thanks for listening.